So what you see here is the basic board setup for Metropolys. This is the suggested setup if this is your first game. So you have these little tokens that are placed on the board in specific spots, and these can be randomly set up once you understand the game and just kind of follow the rules for setup. But what you have here are these different districts, which are outlined by these, what this is considered a river here. And so you have this district here, and then there's this river that goes around over here. And so there's a district there. You got another one up in this area here, another one down over here, and then this center district here. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building different buildings and placing them on different spots of districts. And in doing that, you can either win or lose points. The buildings that you have to build with, you have buildings numbered 1 through 5, which are small buildings, 6 through 9, which are medium height building, and then 10 through 13, which are your highest level buildings. And so this kind of works as an auction, which I'll show you in a minute. The tokens, if you're the last person to place a building in this, and it ends up in this section and no one else builds a building higher than you, and the building you placed is here, you're going to get this token, which is worth 1 point. And there's this bonus card here worth 3 points, and the person who has the most of these tokens, essentially, well, sort of. Anyway, you can win this. Essentially, you can win this bonus card. I'll explain that later. To get 3 points at the end of the game, there's this negative point card, negative 2 points. If you end up with this at the end of the game, you'll lose 2 points, and you get that by ending up building in these areas here, which you have these tokens which are worth negative 1 point. And then additionally, you have these tokens here, which get you 3 points if you're able to collect those. Additionally, in the game, if you're playing the basic game, which is what I'm going to show you here, you have these bonus cards, and each player is going to get a secret bonus. So, for example, this person, if they build anywhere near the edge of the board, like this area here, along these cities that are along the edge of the board, at the end of the game, they're going to get 3 points for each of their buildings in one of those areas. This player, if they build next to the rivers, they're going to get 3 points for each building next to a river. So, if he builds here or here or here, anywhere near next to these rivers, going to get an additional 3 points. Here you get, if you build next to the statues, you're going to get 3 points for every building. So there's these different statues in the districts, and building next to it's going to get you 3 points. And finally, here's if you build next to bridges. So over the rivers there are bridges which allow you to build essentially from here to here because there's a bridge to move from this area to this area. Whereas if you were building, let's say, over here and you placed a building here, you can't build to this area or this area or this area because there's no bridges. You can only move between here, which will make sense as I show you. And those are the basic 4 secret goals. If you play the advanced version, then you get 2 secret goals, and there's different ones for there, as well as whoever has the highest building in a district would get an additional 5-point token. There's 5 districts, so there's 5 bonus tokens you can earn, but I'm not going to be showing this version, but that is the advanced version with more secret goals, as well as the highest building goal. So each player is going to get one of these cards. So let's just give red that one. Let's give blue that one. Let's give white that one, and give gray this one. So if we look at Gray's secret goal, which nobody else would know, it's if he builds next to the rivers, he's going to get 3 points for each building he does. So let's just start off the game, and let's say we're going to start off with Gray, and let's say Gray says, all right, I'm going to put a number 5 building here. And by the way, this wouldn't be shown, you wouldn't let the other people see what building numbers you have left. So how I have this set up over here, like maybe if you were sitting over here, you would have these facing you, and then these facing you. So you could see what numbers you have left, but nobody else can see which numbers you have left, because the numbers kind of give you power in building. So for example, let's say Gray starts off and he says, I'm going to build a level 5 building here. Now, it goes to the next player's turn, which is Red. Red can either play a higher level building in an adjacent area. So here, 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 and those are the 4 choices that red has to build in. So he could play level 6 through 13 building in an adjacent area if he wants, or he can pass. Red's secret goal is to build next to statues. So let's say red goes, all right, there's a statue here, so if I build here, that's going to be next to a statue. Or he could build here, which is next to a statue, and he would get this token if he's the last one to build of 3 points. So let's just say red goes, you know what, I'm going to gamble, and I'm going to say I will build a level 11 building in this district. So it's adjacent, and so now it would go to blue. Blue can either build a building or pass. So blue's objective is if he builds next to bridges. So he could build here, which is in a district next to a bridge, but it's also a district which gets some negative points. So maybe he doesn't want to build here. This district is not next to a bridge. This is not next to a bridge. And these are the only 3 choices that blue has. So let's say blue passes. Plus he would have to build with one of his higher level buildings, a 12 or a 13. So then it goes to white. White's secret goal is to build next to the edge of the board. He's nowhere near it. So white says he's going to pass. So it goes back to gray, who, if he builds next to, the rivers, he's going to get bonus points. So he could build into this area with a higher level building and deny red from getting this token. This area is next to a river as well. So let's just say gray's going to go for it, and gray will build, let's just say gray will build here with a 12. So then it goes back to red. Red can build a 13 either here or here, because those are adjacent to this area, but that's it. He can't go back this way. So red's going to pass. So what happens is gray turns his building over like this, and it stays on the board. Red gets his number 11 building back, and gray gets his number 5 level building back. Now that gray was the last one to place a building, he is going to start the next round. So as it stands right now, with just this one building built, because gray is built next to a river, he already has 3 points, and nobody else has any points as it stands. So gray gets to start somewhere else. So let's say gray is going to build in a new area. And let's say he just puts his 5 over here. And so now it's red's turn. Alright, so red again, if he builds next to a statue, he gets points. And here, if he builds in this area, he's going to get this token, which will get him a point as well. So that would be 3 for building next to this, plus 1 there. Additionally, he can earn this thing here for 3 points, though he'll probably lose it. But let's just say red goes, you know what, I'll put a 9 over here. Let's see what happens. So then it goes to blue. Well, blue can build next to bridges, and so he could build here, which is next to a bridge, or he could build in this area next to a bridge, which has a 3-point token in it. He'd have to build higher than a 9. So let's just say he does it. Let's say he goes, I'm going to put a 12 building over here. So it's white's turn. White is, if he builds next to the edge of the board, he's going to get 3 points. So if he builds here, it's next to the edge of the board. But he would have to place his 13, which is his highest level building, and he's not getting anything else out of it. He's not going to get a token or anything. He's just going to be able to place the building there. So let's say he wants to hold on to his level 13 building to use at a better time. So he passes. Gray could build here, which would get him another next to a river spot. And he would have to use his level 13 building. He's already used his level 12, so he would be kind of in a low area. So let's just say everyone else passes. So blue gets it. So blue would turn his building over. He would get this token here, which is worth 3 points at the end of the game. So that goes to blue. Red gets his level 9 building back, and gray gets his level 5 building back, and now it's blue's turn to build. And so blue can choose anywhere he wants to build. And let's just say he goes with a number 4 over here. And so it goes to white. Now white can move into this area, which is next to the edge of the board, and it could earn him a level 3 token. So that looks pretty good to him. So let's say he puts out, he goes, I'll put an 11 here. And then it goes to Gray. So does Gray want to use a higher than an 11 building? Well, he only has a 13 to use because he already used his number 12. And though people might know that at this point, eventually as buildings get out here, they're going to forget which numbers people have used and haven't used. They'll only be able to see, and they wouldn't see the numbers, but they would only be able to see how many large buildings you have left, how many medium-sized buildings, etc. So with green being able to build next to the rivers for points, or Gray, I mean, he could build here, and that's next to a river. And it also would get him 1 point, and it would earn him this card for the moment. So let's just say he does it for the sake of the video. So he builds a 13 here. Well, no one can build higher than a 13, so 11. White gets its 11 back. Blue gets its 4 back. This gets turned this way, and Gray gets this 1 point token for the end of the game. And he currently gets this card for 3 points. Now, what would have to happen is somebody would have to build, since Gray has one of these tokens, somebody would have to get 2 of these tokens to be able to take this away from Gray. And then when somebody gets 2 of those tokens for it to be taken away from that person, then somebody would have to have 3. So you would always have to have more than whoever currently possesses this card. So now Gray would get to start, and let's say Gray goes over and he puts he puts a 6 in this area here. So it's Red's turn. Red knows that he could build next to a statue and get this token. So Red's going to throw down his 11 building here. See what happens. So Blue could either play a 12 or 13 in an adjacent area. Now this area is blocked, so there's only this area or this area left. Blue's bonus is bridges, and there's no bridge here, but there is a bridge here. Again, if he builds here for the bonus, he would take on this negative token, as well as he would have to take this negative 2 point card, but he will lose that eventually over time, so he doesn't have to worry about that. But Blue would have to take this with a 12, and so, or a 13, and so Blue doesn't want to do that, so he passes. White, his bonus area is next to the edge of the board, so he's going to pass. Gray's going to pass, and so now this gets turned over. Red gets this token worth 3 points at the end of the game, and he's built next to a statue, so he's going to get 3 points. Now he's built next to 2 statues, but it only counts if you're. It only counts as 1. This district is next to a statue, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it's next to 1 or 2 statues. So now Red will get to build. Now, Red, if Red wanted to, let's just say Red goes, oh, I'm going to put a 3 over here and start and try and move in some other direction. For some reason he does this. Now Blue can't, the only place Blue can build is here because these 2 areas are blocked off. But what Blue could do is see that Red is in a negative point area, and Blue could just say, I'm going to pass. And then White could say, I'm going to pass. Gray could say they're going to pass. And then Red gets this district here. So he loses that. He takes this negative 1 point. And he also gets this negative 2 point card. However, if the next time somebody takes one of these tokens, they're going to get the negative 2 card. And so, let's see, this should come back to Gray. Alright, so Red started, so Red gets to go again. But he did build next to a statue, which is his goal. So even though he took a negative 1 point, getting this district gets him 3 points, so 3 minus 1. He's still going to earn 2 points for being built here, even though he took that negative 1. So Red could go somewhere else. Red could say, okay, I'm going to start with a 6, and I'm going to build, here with this token here. And so then it's Blue's turn, and Blue can build either here, 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 or across the river here. Blue has the next to the bridge spot, so let's say blue goes, I'm going to put a 10 here to take this spot. So now it goes to white. White gets bonuses for the edge of the board. He's not near that, but he could build to try and get this 1 point marker here, or he could build to try and get this 3 point marker here. He'd have to use one of his higher level buildings, 11, 12, or 13. And let's just say he passes. Gray knows that he could build here, and he'd be next to a river and get this building. So Gray's going to go, all right, I'll put my 11 here. So now it goes to red. Red could build here or here. Now red's goal is statues, and in this district there's a 1 point. So red would need to build a 12 or a 13. So let's just say red goes, I'll put my 12 building here. It goes to blue, and blue's goal is bridges. And he's, let's see, so he could move this way, he could move this way, which would end, if blue built here, that would end it because there's nowhere adjacent to this area to build. You can't go outside the river, and you can't go back to 12. So he could take this spot if he wanted to. So let's see, his goal is bridges. He could go over here to get next to this bridge, but he would have to use his 13 level building. So he's going to pass. Let's just say everyone passes. So gray would get this building back. Blue would get this building back. Red would get this building back. This would get turned over. And red would get this 1 point token. Now red has one of these tokens and gray has one of these tokens. Now if red gets another one of these tokens, he's going to be able to steal this card from the gray player. And so now again, as you can see, what's happening is, it's early stages, but the board's going to start getting narrowed down. Like this spot, like if anyone builds in any of these two spots, you can no longer move to this direction. And this spot's essentially cut off now because you can't get to it from anywhere because you can't go through here anymore. So something, somebody could have done like blue or something is they could have built here just to keep this spot open if they wanted it open for some reason. But anyway, it just continues like this, and so what's going to happen is, as it stands right now, you would look at your points. So if the game were over right now, gray has 3, 4, and then he's going to get 3 points for each river he's next to. So he's next to one in this building, so that's going to be 3 more points for him there, and he's at one over here. So that's another 3 points, so 3, 6, 9. He would have 10 points right now. Red, being next to statues, he's got 3, 6, 9. Minus 1 is 8. Minus 2 is 6. Plus 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10, so he would have 10 points right now. Blue, next to bridges, he's got 3 points there, plus his token, another 6 points as it stands right now. White doesn't have anything on the board, so white has no points right now. But anyway, that's just kind of how it goes. You have these different districts you're going to be building in, and you're trying to obtain points from these tokens or filling your secret objective by building next to either bridges or rivers or actually, let's see, is this right, lakes? I think he's doing the gray one wrong. If he builds next to lakes, and lakes are these ones, like this and this and this, and I think I was counting the rivers for gray. So I counted this as a river, which he doesn't get points for rivers. That's the other thing about the board. It's kind of busy, and so it's kind of hard to tell the colors. But that was just an error on my part. So gray probably really wouldn't have built this. Well, no, because he's next to a river here, so he still would get that point. But I had him build over here, thinking he would get points for this, but this is not a lake. He gets points for lakes, so that he probably really wouldn't have built this building over here. But anyway, that's kind of an overview of how the game works. Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense.